Hey guys, this is Kitty here. And as you guys know, I went to Korea in August, and there was a lot of things that I learned while in Korea for the very first time, and I want to share that experience and some tips for you guys, for the ones that haven't gone to Korea and the ones that are planning on going to Korea. So here are my 15 tips about Korea that I learned while I was there. And so tip number 1 is that there are no garbage cans in Korea. So there are, not necessarily that saying that they don't have at all, but there are, but it's not like if you live in like New York City or like Los Angeles or any, you know, a lot of the garbage cans are right at like every street corner that you go to. But in Korea, literally, you cannot find a garbage can. You have to walk quite a long while before you find a garbage can. And if you are in Myeongdong and you're eating, you won't be able to find a garbage can. Literally, you will be able to find piles of garbage on the street, and that's where you place your garbage. So when you're in Myeongdong and you're like eating like those street food, and you have like pouches of drinks or like skewers left, you really do have to keep a lookout for garbage piles that are around. You do have some garbage cans, but like I said, it takes a while for you to find one. So normally you'll find like a pile of garbage, and that's where you can put your garbage. And normally those pile of garbages are formed by someone in Korea, so you can form your own if you want. But normally for me, I actually wait until I see a pile of garbage and then put it in. Or sometimes you can always just eat near this food stand and then just give it to the owner if they have garbage. Normally they will. So you'll you know, just give it to them and they'll throw it for you. But other than that, it's pretty hard finding garbage cans around Korea. Now, talking about garbage, which leads me to tip number 2, recycling is actually quite important in Korea. It depends on where you live. Now, for my apartment, she actually had the garbage cans already kind of separated for me, so I'm able to know, okay, what am I supposed to put in each garbage. And for me, you had to, well, I only stayed there for 2 weeks. I didn't have a lot of garbage, so I actually kept the garbage in there, and then, you know, told my host that, oh, I, you know, put everything in like I categorized everything in like the right bins, but I didn't bring it down simply because I was afraid that I might have done some kind of mistake, and I didn't want to get in trouble or her to get in trouble. So I was like, okay, I left it there, but it's still, you know, nice and neat. So for my host, simply you kind of like, once you have your garbage, kind of bring it down, and the custodian or the people that work in the building will take it. If you do live in like an apartment building, you most likely will have to bring your garbage to like the basement or the parking lot, where they have a area for the garbage, and then you dispose your things. Yeah, keep in mind, recycling is quite important. Even in the train stations, they do separate the garbage, so read carefully before you dump your garbage in there. Okay, now since we got to talking about trains, one thing about the train, or a few things about the train I should tell you. Number 1, something really important that I noticed is that there are elderly specific spots. So in New York City, if you have taken a train, if you are from New York or have experience, you go inside the train and then you can just sit anywhere. But in Korea, there are areas for the elderly, and so people tend to not sit there even if no one is sitting in that area. So basically, if you go in, so let's say this is the cart, right? The cart has, I would say, like 3 doors or 3 to 4 doors, but the door all the way to the left of the cart and all the way to the right of the cart, once you go in on like the very right and at the very left of each cart, those areas is for the elderly. And then there are also spots on the train where sometimes you'll see like one seat that has kind of like a pink outline. That means it's a seat for like pregnant people. So if you do see someone who's pregnant on the train, when they walk in, you would like, you know, give the seat to them. So it's not mandatory for you to give it, but it's courtesy. So keep that in mind when you do take the trains. Don't go in and then once you see a spot, sit down. just have to kind of watch out for it. Since we are talking about the train, the metro system in Korea, one thing you need to know is that the trains do stop at midnight. So compared to New York City trains, I think the trains run like 24 hours, but in Korea the trains do stop at midnight around 12 or 1. So it depends on the day, but normally it stops running at 12. So a lot of the times people do tend to rush home by like 11 or so because they have to take the train home. The train do stop at midnight, so you have to kind of look at the train schedule, which they will always post on TV screens within the train station to tell you, oh, when's the last stop, when's the last train that's running and everything. So you really have to be careful of that. I was lucky enough because I tend to try to go home as early as I can, even though I want to enjoy Korea and everything, but I tend to try to go home as early simply because I don't have experience taking the taxi and the bus, so I'm like still a little afraid of that. So the train was like the most easiest way for me to get around Korea, so I try to do that. I think the one event that really got me to like to the point where I'm like really nervous if I'm ever going to get home was when I went to watch Sha Jun-soo Death Note, and lasted until like around 11:30 or so. So from the concert hall or the musical place, the place that held the musical, to the train station was about a 5 to 10 minute walk. So you saw a lot of people, including myself, power walk to the train station. And then even though I was in the train station by like 11:40, I had to wait so long for my train to come, and I was in such a panic as to, oh my god, how am I going to get home if I don't get on this train? You know, like if I don't get on, because I had to transfer, I had to get on this train, transfer to another train which goes to my stop, and I'm like, oh my goodness, what if I don't have the time and then it shuts down on me? But unfortunately it was on a Friday, I believe, so the trains ran a little later than usual. Yeah, so I was really lucky, but that will never ever happen. But just a little tip for you guys, be careful, don't go past midnight, yeah, if you are only taking the train. And talking about trains, there is an app that is really useful and pretty much saved me a lot of time in Korea, and I absolutely love this app. This app is the Seoul Metro app. So it shows you the map of Seoul's metro, but also other train stations like Busan and whatnot. It's called Subway Navigation. Okay, so it's this one right here. It's called Subway Navigation, and it's really great. It shows you the map of, like I said, Seoul metro system, and yeah, you see all the lines. One thing that I really love about this app is that you can actually search up the stations that you're going. So like if, let's say you are from, like the station that you're nearest to is Seoul Station, that's for me. I lived near there, my apartment was near Seoul Station, so you can search up Seoul Station. Right, so this one right here, Seoul Station, right? So I'm going to click on that, and then you can kind of set if you want like departure, arrival, or anything. So I'm going to depart there because that's where my station is at, and then from there you'll be like, okay, you know what, I want to go to let's say you want to visit the SM Coexardium, which they are located at Samsung. So then you press the search again and you type in Samsung. It'll come out with these stations, and pick the one that you are supposed to get off at, and I believe this is number 2, and you set it as destination. If I remember, it's this station, I'm not really sure, I like completely forgot. And then it tells you from getting off to what stop, you know, and which, if you need to transfer anything, and then how long it takes you to get there. And it also tells you the T money, so how much you'll need to pay to get to that destination that you're going. So I really love this app. It's really, really useful. Sometimes it also tells you like if you want to take the express, there are express trains, when is the last train and everything. I absolutely love this app. So this app will save you while in Korea. Definitely download. Same thing for talking about the trains. The T card is really important. That's pretty much like your Metro card if you're from New York City. And the T card is like 100% better. So basically, the T card, you have to beep in to get into the station, and then once you get out, remember you have to beep when you get out, because if you don't, they will sound the alarm. So basically what you need to do is a lot of the times the gates that they do have like some kind of doors, so you beep and then it opens and you walk through, but a lot of the times they don't. And as a foreigner and for first time in Korea, you might think, okay, let me just walk through. You have to beep. Remember to beep out of the station, because if you don't, you will be charged for that whole distance. So remember to beep in and beep out. Same goes for buses. I've only rode the bus once with my friend, which is the same thing. You beep when you get on the bus, you beep when you get off the bus, which is really simple, but I know a lot of people would forget, because especially if you're from New York City, you're kind of used to, okay, just swipe in and then you're done. But in Korea, you have to beep in and beep out. Always remember that, beep in and beep out. No matter which type of transportation you're taking, the train, the bus, taxi, you don't need to do that. But yeah, definitely for the bus and the train, beep in and beep out. Okay, so since we are talking about trains, one thing that I want to talk about is when you arrive to Korea and you arrive at Incheon Airport and you're going to take the train from Incheon Airport to like Seoul. So they have the express train right under Incheon Airport. So once you get your luggage, you just keep on going down, and then you'll see a sign where they say express train. So that's what it is. You get your ticket and you beep in, just like a T card. You beep in to take the express train, and then when you come out, don't beep your express train card. That card, you actually have to dispose it into so like you have the stall, like when you are about to get out, the gate or the stall, however you want to call it. Normally with the T card, you beep and you walk out, but for the express train card, there's like, how should I say it? So there's a part that you can beep, and there's a part like kind of under it where you slide your card in, like they take your card. So that's for the express train card, because you don't keep those cards. They actually dispose it and like recycle it or somewhat. So you, instead of beeping it out, you need to insert your card for them to take. Okay, just to know that, because when I thought, okay, everything's about beeping, right? You beep in, you beep out. But when I was about to like beep out, they were like, nope, that's not what you're supposed to do. I was like, oh my god, what am I supposed to do? Like, what am I supposed to do with this card? Like, I can't beep out. It won't let me out. And I was like, okay, let me see. And then I saw that there was like a slide or a slot where you kind of like let it go in. So I was like, okay, maybe that is it. So I slid it in, and then it took it, and then the gate opened. I was like, okay, great. So just for you guys to know, do not beep out for the express train card. So that's for only when you're when you arrive from Incheon Airport, and you take the train to whatever station that you're going to, and also when you arrive in Incheon Airport's station. This tip I actually really love, and I was really happy that I found this. If you get a chance, the first day that you get to Korea, if you do get a chance, definitely go to the Myeongdong Underground Shopping Center. While you're walking around, there's going to be like a rack of magazines that's free for you to take. And I was really happy that I was actually able to take one. And the reason why is because on the back of the magazine, there's actually maps of Korea. And on there are like different restaurants and places that you need to visit. It's on there, and it is like the best thing ever. So So it's this. The magazine is called In Seoul, and you guys can see it's all tattered up because I've used it pretty much throughout my whole visit in Korea, which is for 2 weeks. In Seoul, Korea. This one is the July of 2015 because I went in August. So this is the July edition. Every month they should have a new magazine coming out. So at the Myeongdong Underground Shopping Center, they will have this. Take one. It'll help you. I am a really like map person, so like as long as I have like a visual, I'll be able to get to pretty much anywhere. So in this magazine, it introduces you to, of course, different foods and places and shows and whatnot that you can go to, but all the way in the back is what I love about this magazine. So all the way in the back you do have a map of Seoul, which is great because it's, you know, you get to kind of search where you want to go, and then sometimes they do show you like the different performance places that you can go to. But as you flip in, they'll tell you also about like the Incheon airport, where to go. They do give you maps of different parts of Seoul. So like here is Seoul downtown. So if you ever want to visit any place during Seoul, you can see that there's like the palaces and whatnot. There's also, here we go, Myeongdong area, and as you can see, I drew like circles and whatnot on there just so I know where to get off. Myeongdong, absolutely perfect. You definitely want this map while you're in Myeongdong because you do kind of get lost sometimes. But yeah, as you guys can see, I wrote and drew a lot on it as well. But this is absolutely just great because you are able to pretty much find any place that you want to go on here. And this map actually helped me to find like SM, the new SM building, the FNC building, the JYP building, the Cube building. It's all in there, guys. Perfect. Love it. Definitely get your hands on a copy when you can because it's very helpful. Okay, so on the first night that I arrived to Korea, or the first day, on that day that I arrived to Korea, that night I actually wanted to visit the Namsan Tower, but unfortunately the cable car wasn't working, and that leads to pretty much my next tip, which is you won't be able to know if things are working or not, or if they're open or not, until you get to that place. So a lot of the times, like I've talked to my friend before, she was like, yeah, they don't post everything online for you to see if they're closed or if something's not working or not. You literally have to be at that place to know what is going on. We went all the way to Namsan Tower, and then cable car wasn't working. The bus was just running really late. Everything was just delayed, and it was just getting really tiring and very late, and we were just like, oh my god, you know what, let's just go to Myeongdong and eat. But yeah, so that's something that you might have to be really careful about, is that things that you plan might not go the way you want simply because things might have broken down or whatnot. So definitely be careful of that. And like I said, Korea, they don't post any information on their website whatsoever, so you really have to wait till the moment you get there to know if everything is going well. Which leads to my other tip is search up and research up if a place is open or not. This has happened to me twice in Korea, simply because I didn't do my research enough. The first time was when I wanted to visit Hoya's, I believe it's a donkatsu restaurant in Incheon. So I visited my friend in Incheon, and apparently it was closed. So that was that. And I was just like, it's so bad. Yeah, did not know it was closed. I thought it was still open. Should have done my research. The same thing with the second time. I went and I wanted to visit Teen Top's Neil's Cafe. it was raining that day too, and I was just like, oh my god, watch it not be opened. And then so I was like searching for it for quite a while. It was a long walk too, from the cafe to the train station. And I was just walking and I was walking and I was like, oh my god, I can't find it. What is going on? I can't find it. So I kept on walking, and then once I got to the place, they were like, you're here. And I was like, no, it's not. I don't see it. And then I searched up and they're like, yeah, the cafe was closed like I think a year ago or like a few months ago. And I was just like, oh, I should have done my research. But hey, I got to eat some delicious donuts. Yep, I did. So, which leads me to do your research fully and know that, and make sure that the restaurant and the place that you're going is still open, because anything can happen, guys. Okay, so I know most of you probably have heard that when you go to like Myeongdong or Hongdae and you're just walking the streets and you get free samples from like these cosmetic stores and whatnot. That is so not true. Well, half of it is true, I should say. When I heard about like, oh, they're gonna give you free samples and everything, I was like, oh my god, really? My initial thought was literally if you're just walking on the street and they'll just give you a free sample. You know, like they'll give you like a free mask or anything. That wasn't the case. A lot of the times you do see people outside of these cosmetic stores holding these masks or like different samples to give you, but they'll only give it to you if you go into the store and buy something. That's the catch. Yes, they're out there, you know, trying to give you these masks and everything. The moment you try to take one, they're like, yeah, you could take it if you go buy it something in our store. So technically, it's not really free. You really have to kind of purchase something before they give you something, which leads me to like a really interesting story. So I believe, which store did I go to? I forgot which cosmetic store I went to, but I went and then I bought something, like one item, and then the register person, the guy, asked me, oh, do you want a bag? And I was like, no, I don't want a bag. And he was like, okay, then here's a sample. And he was like, if you wanted a bag, I wouldn't have given you a sample, but since you didn't want a bag, here's a sample for you. I was like, okay, thank you. But yeah, it's really not free. You don't really get free samples unless you buy something. So just keep that in mind, guys. So if you do see people outside in Myeongdong or Hongdae, you know, kind of calling you or like, hey, come and check it out, or like, here's a free mask, don't take it, because they will tell you to go in and buy something. I mean, you can take it, but then you just have to reject them saying, no, you know, I don't want to buy anything, and then give them the mask back. So okay, my next tip is if you plan on going to Myeongdong to eat the street food, most likely you will have to need to have cash on you. I don't think they take credit cards. I've never seen anyone paid with credit cards, so you will have to have some cash on you. I know a lot of times people do travel, they don't really want to carry cash, more like credit cards, so it's easier. But just so you know, if you want street food, you definitely need to have cash with you, because that's how you're gonna pay for them. So they don't take credit cards, they only take cash. Okay, now speaking of credit cards, I used my credit card quite a lot of times because I personally don't carry a lot of cash on me while I'm like in Korea or traveling wise, simply because, you know, you never know, you're gonna get robbed. You don't want that. But I do use my credit card a few times, and actually probably a few times, because it's easier, and I have a traveling card. When you're using your credit card, they will have you, like, they'll swipe it. Sometimes you swipe it, sometimes they swipe it for you, but I think majority of the time they swipe it. And then they have like a little pad on the counter where you sign. So you take the pen, you sign, and you put the pen back in. So, you know, like in America, you sign and then you press like OK or anything like that. For in Korea, you just take the pen, you sign it, and then push it back into the pen holder, and that's how you kind of, that's your enter right there. So just so you guys know, because the first time I did it, I actually just like signed it, and then I was just like, okay. I held the pen, I was like, what am I supposed to do with it? Like, I'm waiting for something, right? But the person took the pen and then put it into the pen holder, and that was it. So just so you guys know, if you are using your credit card, sign it, put the pen back into pen holder, and you're good. Okay, so one thing in Korea that I absolutely love is that you don't need to pay any tips. You pay what is on the menu. Pretty much most likely the menu in itself includes tip already, or like tax or whatnot, but yeah, pretty much you don't need to tip. You don't tip in Korea. You don't need to tip at all. So you go, you order something, you eat exactly that amount, and that's it. You don't need to tip the people or anything. I've heard stories where my friends would tip them, and then like the people in the waiters or waitresses will come out running to you saying, no, you don't need to, you don't need, I don't need this, they'll give it back to you. So there is no tips in Korea. Don't tip the waitresses, don't tip the waiters, don't tip anyone. So basically just pay your bill and then you leave. Now the very last tip, which is also my 15th tip for this video, is definitely I recommend you guys to have a portable battery. That will come in really, really handy. Simply, the reason I say that because when I was in Korea, I would be outside most of the time, and so I use my phone a lot because of the train app. I also use it to communicate with my friends because I didn't buy any cellular plan or anything, so I used my phone to use the Kakao, which is, it's online. As long as you have wireless, you'll be able to use it. So I didn't have any cellular plan or anything, so I didn't use my phone like to call anyone. You can use that, the Kakao Talk or any type of other app, to call your friends or anything that you want, and that's pretty much it. So I use my phone a lot, and then also plus the egg, which is the Wi-Fi egg that you get, which is I absolutely love. That also runs on battery. So for a portable battery, it will be really nice because then you will be able to charge your phone and you'll be able to charge your egg because it runs out quite fast. For me, my egg lasts pretty much the whole day. I do turn it off when I don't need it to save the battery, but if you have a portable battery, it will be really, really great because you can just charge it. You don't have to worry about it. Your phone as well, charge it. Don't have to worry about it. That's something that you really, really, I suggest everyone get, is a portable battery because that's what you really, really need. I mean, not necessarily have to be in Korea, but traveling wise, it's always great to have a portable battery because you never know when something's gonna run out. And yeah, so those are my tips about getting around in Korea and kind of, I guess, surviving in Korea for like 2 weeks or longer if you guys would. But yeah, for the ones who are planning on going to Korea, hopefully these tips are really, really useful. If you guys enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and then subscribe if you haven't. And also, so before I do end this video, I want to say that I want to do a Q&A video about my trip to Korea. So if you have any questions, definitely comment below and let me know what are some things that you are interested to know, and I will definitely answer them for you. I know it's like pretty long overdue for this Q&A video, so I'll get to it, guys. I'll get to it before the end of this year, I promise. So enter all your questions, comment below all your questions, and I will answer them in my Q&A video about Korea. Okay, so I will see you guys next time. 안녕.